music up. Hey, let me cut it. Hey, we live, man. What's up? What's poppin'? This episode of the RV Chronicles is brought to you by Meliamar Jewelry and Apparel. So I don't know what I want to name this necklace, but as you can see, your boy got it on though. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I should call this necklace. So it got black, orange, black, and green. So that's like Ochosi, Ogun, type of energy. Um, you know. All right, I'm finna cut this off because I just want to talk to y'all right quick. We in the bedroom, bathroom, as you can see. Y'all mean? We in the bedroom, bathroom of the RV, man. You know, what's good with you? We in the bedroom, bathroom. This is the shower. This is my shower right here. Hold on. Let me. Yep, that's the shower. That's the shower right there. So, all right, let me cut this off. All right. So, I'm not going to be around, I'm not going to be here talking to y'all long. It's just something that I just want to tell y'all in regards to doing this shadow work. Just a little bit when we talk about astrology. Right now, the sun is in Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius, and it is 24 degrees in Aquarius. So it's not going to be in Aquarius for too much longer. And it is in the 5th house, so right now, a lot of us right now should be working on creative projects. We should be, Valentine's Day is coming up in a couple days. So, with this Aquarius shining over the 5th house, a lot of very unprecedented, well, not unprecedented, but just a lot of random curiosity when it comes to starting a new relationship. Maybe starting a new relationship, or starting just childlike feelings when it comes to doing stuff like that. Because right now, let's see, where the 7th house is in Aries. So yeah, so the 7th house is in Aries. The sun is right now, we're in Aquarius. So a lot of newness when it comes to relationships, a lot of newness when it comes to partnering and different things like that. But since the sun is in Aquarius, we're going to want to be, we're going to be a lot more, you said Sagittarius, Sagittarius is in the 3rd house right now, so mentally, nah, I'm not gay. I'm not, man. I'm straight, super straight. I don't even want that in my comments, dog. It ain't me. But anyway, so, what is this? 1 teaspoon of, who is this? Somebody over here, putting, recipes and stuff up in here. That is very interesting. But yeah, just something I want to bring to you all's attention. Right now, energetically, the moon is in Capricorn. So this is the thing. Right now, energetically, there's a lot of, I want to say, this air of seriousness that is going on, mental processing, because Capricorn is in the third house. So a lot of us mentally may be going through a lot of stuff right now, processing a lot of things. This is a very transformative part of the year. Very transformative part of the year. I'm a Gemini for the person who asked. So right now, if you have a creative project that you're working on, if you have something, that you're working on, if you got, right now, tapping into your inner child energy is going to be extremely important. Tapping into your inner child energy right now is going to be extremely important. And this is something that I've been dealing with, trying to finish this animation. Right now, when it comes to the real world side of things, I'm going through a lot of things right now. My RV is been parked. It's been kind of stuck. Having some issues with. I don't know if it's the head gasket or if it's a spark plug, or the distributor. But right now, I'm a little kind of stuck right now. Been going through a lot when it comes to this RV. I haven't. I don't really talk about a lot of stuff that I go through on here. I try not to talk about that too much because I like to keep things lighthearted. But the only thing that's really been keeping me afloat, mentally and emotionally, is working on this animation. And energetically, it just haven't been there. I know a lot of y'all out there may be going through some energetic downsides right now. And it has a lot to do with this real heavy Capricorn moon energy, you know. So the pathway to your inner child is where your reserve energy is going to be. And then the more you work on that creative project, and this is Aquarius, so this is going to be a situation that if you finish this project, whatever it is, this is going to result in a community effort. This is something that if you finish this project, whatever it is out there that you're doing, this is going to get the attention of the community, and it's going to make people want to help you if you can get this out, if you can get this done. But that pathway right now is very congested, unless unless you've been on that shadow work journey, you've been doing that shadow work, so exactly what you need to do in order for you to open that pathway back to your inner child. And for me, I know y'all may laugh at this, but this is my story. This is my childhood. But I had to travel back in time. I had to travel back in time to a point in my childhood where I was dreaming about doing what I'm doing now. So I would say for me, I would say that's back around 2000, from like 2000 to like 2004 or 2005, around that time. And around that time, I wasn't listening to a whole lot of rap. I wasn't listening to a whole lot of hip hop, because in my household, that wasn't something that was played. So if you wanted to listen to that type of stuff, you would have to sneak and listen to it. And back when I was coming up, my mom had a component set, and that component set had a boombox tape recorder built into it. So all my old school people who know about that, I used to have these tapes, and I used to sneak and get on the radio and record certain songs from the radio, so I can listen to them later. That's something that I remember vividly. And one of the stations that I kind of got away with being able to listen to, back during that time, because it was on the AM, it was on the AM radio, was Radio Disney. Radio Disney was something that I was able to listen to because it was on the same uh, um, frequency as the gospel music. The gospel music came on the AM station, and Radio Disney came on the AM station. So with that, it was a gateway. I was able to learn about different genres of pop music, different genres of like classic rock, soft rock, um, what they call it, pop punk. All those different types of genres. But since I was a child during that time, um, you know, listening to certain songs and listening to certain commercials and stuff like that, it brings me back. It brings me back, and it's almost like me going into a time machine and just going back and just listening to all that stuff. And it's crazy because back when I was younger, and I was actually listening to it when I was younger, I hated the commercials. I hated the commercials. Even watching like my old cartoons that I used to watch back in the day. But as an adult, and I'm going back doing my shadow work, those commercials are actually what connects me. Me listening to those commercials now, it connects me right back to my childhood. And as soon as I turned on, started listening to that, just the thought of it just energized me. I was feeling so low. I was going through it, feeling bad. And then I'm trying to finish this animation, this episode. And just the thought of it was like a jolt of happiness, just a jolt of energy. And so I went on this scavenger hunt, if you will, trying to find where I can listen to that stuff. Because see, it's one thing, just listening to the songs. That's one thing, just listening to the songs. But then it's another thing if you can find a actual broadcast from 2001 or an actual broadcast from 2002, and you can listen to the whole show, the music, the commercials, listen to everything. And it's like you're back there. It's like I'm back in my room. I used to sneak and put the radio under my pillow at night, just so I can listen to Radio Disney while I slept. you know so it just took me back to that moment. But one thing I started to notice, and I noticed this today too. um there's not there's not a lot of media like that, um that's around. There's not a lot of media that's like that because um this is a lot of this stuff. It was like prime media, the stations themselves didn't record a lot of this stuff. So it's like, you know if you missed it back then, you just missed it. you know um a lot of this stuff from the old, and I'm saying olden times, but the early 2000s ain't really that old. The early 2000s ain't really that old. But since everything is moving so fast, and everything is moving to digital streaming, they want you to stream everything, they want you to buy everything. um all of this old media, old cartoons, old radio shows, a lot of this old media is slowly turning into lost media. It's slowly turning into lost media. And these are things that connects us, millennials. These are things that connect us back to our inner child. These are things that my shadow work, when I first started doing shadow work, it was based on that. you know so it put me on this road of just going through YouTube, finding every single piece of Radio Disney, uh, um, music from back then, because there was only, what's up, Know Thyself. Um, there was only a couple videos that I found, and they had the music, they had the commercials, they had everything. It was like a radio show. They recorded the whole thing on their boombox, and it was like, it was almost like somebody, um it's like you drinking an energy drink or something, and it's like as soon as it gets into your system, all the memories that you thought you forgot. It's just crazy how magical music is, isn't it? Like, it's crazy how magical music is. Like certain things in my childhood I forgot about, and then I go back and listen to an old song and listen to the commercial, and I'm like, oh, I remember this. Like, it takes you back, you know and that's something. Yes, it is. Yeah. And that's something that, listening to a clear, and the thing about it is, for me, you know it hits harder when they're static. Like the old stuff, the old radio shows that had the static, and I don't know, maybe I sound like an old head to y'all. Maybe I sound like an old head, but it's like for me, triggers moments you forgot, like, yeah, like lost footage. Yeah. Yeah. you know and it's like, for me, listening to the digital, high quality version, me listening to the high quality version that they done mess with the frequencies and manipulated it and changed some of the words around and all of that kind of stuff. you know it don't hit the same as listening to a version of that song that somebody recorded on their boombox and they uploaded it to YouTube. So it got the static. You can kind of hear the song. You can kind of hear like a song on a different station in the background, like that real gritty style. You know, it's only when I listen to that it took me back, that it fully, like, I'm like, yo, like, my mind is back in '02. My mind is back in '03, but my body is still in 2026. you know and one thing that I noticed, that when I put myself in that predicament, it felt like I was connecting myself to an etherical charger, and it was like I was charging myself up. And then in my reality, good things started to happen. I got a random email from a rental place that I used to use, back in 2024, 2025. Organic, authentic, and raw records. Yeah, you're right, man. I got an email from this rental car company, and they said, I'm sorry that it took us so long to reach back with you, but we want to let you know that we gave you, I think I got like four, we gave you your 3,000 something points back, which was like 3 free rental days, that I forgot about. I forgot about that account because I haven't had a rental car in a long time. So I accrued all of these points up before I got the RV, and I lost them, because it's a new year. So they was like, not only did we give you your 3,000 36,000 points back, we added another 1,000 since it took us so long to get to you. So I'm like, okay, so now I got 4 free rental car days. So God forbid something happened with the RV and I got to make a quick move or something like that. Now I have that option. And it was like, different little things like this has been happening to me in the midst of, the crazy stuff, in the midst of the low vibrational stuff that's been going on. different interviews being canceled, different job interviews that I had being canceled, um, different shifts that I had planned out, been canceling and stuff like that. But thank God, I'm just I'm not the type to just squander my money. So, you know, I'm not out here busted and disgusted. But it's like every time that it's like my inner child is feeding me. At first, at first, I had to do things to feed my inner child. But now I'm in a point to where now my inner child has to feed me. So when it comes to the powers that be right now, the powers that be, they notice, the system of soulless beings, they notice. So what they've been trying to do, they've been trying to dry up, they've been trying to dry up anything that can lead to a pathway for you to get back in touch with your inner child. And for some people, it may be different. For some people, your pathway to your inner child may be you watching Rugrats. You know, your inner child may want to watch Rugrats, but now, you know, um, you can't go to nick.com to where your inner child is fully activated because that's what you used to do when you was that young. Now you gotta, if you want to keep that pathway to your inner child open and you want to do it the legal way, you gotta go to freaking Paramount Plus. Yeah, blessings mixed with issues. Yeah. And that's why I was when I got this message, I had to go live. I was finna just do a podcast, but I'm like, nah, fuck it, I gotta go live because I know I'm not the only one going through this, because it's like I'm holding on. It's like I'm holding on to to something that is a surefire pathway to my inner child. you know but what I'm seeing is, um you know the main thing is your memories. Your memories are extremely important. And you can't necessarily depend on what the world has given to you. Necessarily, you can't depend on what this world has given to you always for you to have that pathway to your inner child. Because we got to get to that point, like our parents and like our grandparents and stuff like that. We got to get around here and start downloading content, downloading a lot of things. We got to start archiving a lot of things, because at the end of the day, the world doesn't care about why you're mad that whatever that they put out is no longer accessible no more. And that's the big thing. you know um we gotta start archiving things. um you know Thank God for the Internet Archive. It's a website called the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive. um because a lot more things, if it wasn't. And it's crazy how these money hungry media companies are trying to shut down the Internet Archive, because you can go to the Internet Archive and you can pull up an episode of Rugrats. And when I say Rugrats, you can pull up a Blockbuster videotape. Like somebody went and they dumped their Rugrats Blockbuster videotape and they put it online for everybody to watch on the Internet Archive website. you know and that website alone was extremely pivotal in my shadow work journey, because I was able to just go on there and watch Scooby-Doo, watch Rugrats, like watch full Nickelodeon broadcast, 4 hour broadcast, full 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour 2000s Cartoon Network broadcast that somebody recorded on their TV. you know and it's crazy because even this has to do with community, humanitarian. You don't, you unlike YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, you don't get paid for putting your content on the internet archive. So this, even this discussion alone is an Aquarius discussion, because Aquarius is about community. It's about community. It's about humanitarianism and stuff like that. You know, and in this time that we're in, I know y'all seen the Super Bowl. I know y'all seen different stuff. That's you have these other races and stuff like that, and all they're doing is running off the same programming that that our colonizer forefathers that we've had to deal with all of this time. They're just regurgitating that. But when it comes to us, us who were foundational to this land that was called America later, we have a bigger responsibility when it comes to protecting everything that we built, protecting everything that that we have contributed to this country. And only we are going to be able to make sure that's going to happen. That's why we have to constantly be out here, in this, Black History Month, so to speak. We're in this Black History Month, and what is this? What is this month about? Think about all the things that's going on right now, where you got the president trying to do away with certain holidays and trying to do away with certain, things that represent, foundational Black American excellence. So, this isn't just about your inner child, but if you can get back to the realm where your inner child is inside of you, then your ancestors are in that same realm, because your ancestors love your inner child. Your ancestors look at your inner child as the real you anyway. You didn't live this life, and you didn't became this egotistical man, or you became this egotistical woman, and you just feel like you just on top of the world and can't nobody tell you shit. But when your ancestors see you, they see a little girl, they see that little girl, or they see that little boy that you was taught that this isn't an adult. You've been taught that little boy or that little girl, had to grow up, So you spent your quote unquote adult life into the apparent. You spent your adult life building this ego, which is a shell to protect that little boy or that little girl inside of you. And then, once now that you're living in this ego, that society told you that you had to create for yourself. Now you're in the apparent. And once you make that step into the apparent, it's almost like hell, because it's a separation from God. And your inner child is Michael Jackson said it the best. Children are the greatest, most precious representation of God. So think about it like that. When you feel like you're in hell, that means that you're separated from your inner child so far that you can't even feel what it's like to be close to God. Yo, that's deep. That is deep. That is deep. You can't know how it feels to be close to God unless you're one with your inner child. And you see how godly people are persecuted, because when you're one with your inner child, your heart, you have a different type of heart Think about if you're a single mom or a single dad, and you got a little precious little baby girl or a little precious little baby boy, and you got them on your back, you know, and they with you everywhere. They can see everything, they can react, you know, and you can't take this baby. Yeah, I said you have to receive the kingdom of God as a child. Yep, that's true. You know, and the difference is you can't put this child to bed. You can't put this child in a playpen somewhere. You can't put this child. You can't give this child to a babysitter. You wouldn't want to. You know. Think about, as a mom, how you felt when it was time for your child to go to preschool for the first time. How did you feel? If you was one of those moms that cried when you had to take your child and leave them at that daycare for the first time. You know, the regret that you may have inside is like, damn, like if it was a perfect world, I'll just be at home with my child and they ain't never got to go to school, or not school, but they ain't never got to go to daycare. That's how my mom thought. So that's why me and my little brother, we didn't go to daycare, because she tried it with us and we would come home sick. All of this has to do with your inner child, by the way. My mom used to take me and my little brother, try to put us in daycare and after school care, and we would come home sick, from the other kids. We would come home malnourished, we would come home, all messed up. And my mom was like, hell no, I'm done with this shit. you know my mom, she ended up getting a lower level job as a head cook at the working in a school cafeteria, when she could have been a chef. Like, she went to school, like she could have been like a head, like culinary chef at a fancy restaurant somewhere. But she knew that if she would have did that, it would have resulted in putting me and my little brother in a predicament that she saw a lot of her family members in, and how they grew up. So when it comes to us and our inner child, especially in this time now where everything is doom and gloom, and we got this going on and this war going on, and we got this going on over here in this country and all of this stuff, and we got all this stuff that's going on right now. Your inner child don't need to be in daycare. So what does that mean? When our inner child is in daycare, that is us doing something in this reality that we're not really proud of, but we feel like that we have to do it. Think about when you're a dad, or you're a mom, and you got to send your child to school so you can go to work, so you can provide a roof over your child's head. That's the same type of mentality of your inner child, but it's harder. It's harder. It's harder because nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. You can't be around here underperforming, and then your boss asks you, like, what's going on, like, why are you underperforming? And you say, well, I'm just trying to nurture my inner child. I've been going through some things and I'm just trying to heal my inner child. Like, the manager gonna be like, yo, you can do that off the clock. You could do all that inner child stuff off the clock. I need you here giving your optimum performance at this job that I pay you for. Nobody cares. Just like how nobody cares about what you have to do to get your child up in the morning to go to school. Nobody cares. But then what happens when that child when that child don't come to school, and now you're in jail for truancy? You know, that's the only time that it means something. So that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about right now. That pathway to your inner child is gonna act as a charging port. You know, and if you've been doing that shadow work up until now, then this connection, the connection, you already know how to connect to your inner child. Now it's just about being able to do everything in your pathway right now to make sure that that path stays open. Because as long as that path to your inner child, as long as that path stays open, um, that's where you're gonna get your that's where you're gonna get your positive energy from. That's gonna lead into luck. Remember what I told y'all in my videos before. Love, love in the spiritual world translate to luck in the physical world. So the more you give love in the spiritual, the more that's going to translate into luck in the physical world, you know? And if y'all can heed that message, my friends, you will be glad that you did. Go to my go to my description in my video, so that way you can see the donation links if you would like to donate. Um, all of the donations is going to be for my animation, so I can make that better. And also to my RV, so I'll be able to give y'all more content, give y'all more types of videos and stuff like that. So I like doing these because I'm in the RV, I'm in my energy, and I'm able to just flow, maybe just flow, and you know, and just be able to give y'all this. So if y'all like this, make sure y'all be able to donate. I got my website if you all want to get readings and stuff like that from me. That is also in the description of this video. And until next time, peace.